In this video, I'm going to continue with the setup. First, I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to go to Levels, make Level 1 active, and I'm going to turn the geometry for Level 2 off as I don't need to see it anymore. I'm going to come back here to Toolpaths and I'm going to fix my stock setup because I accidentally added a quarter when I meant to add an eighth or a 16th to each end. So I'm just going to come here and I'm going to change the overall size to 8 1/8 from 8 1/4. And I'll say OK. We can see it shrink and now we're good. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another machine group because I'm going to keep both the top and bottom machining operations in this one mastercam file. To do that, I'm going to go to Machine, Mill, and again, before I do that, I'm going to save it just in case it crashes yet again. So I'm going to say, give me another default machine. Oh, and we're lucky and there's no crash. So now what I'm going to do, I have one machine group here and a second machine group here. I'm going to do slow double click here and I'm going to just call this the bottom. And then I'll come down here, do the slow double click, and I'm going to call this the top. And I'm going to continue in this video with setting up the stock for the top. So the first thing I want to do is I want to come here to the transform ribbon and I'm going to make a copy of this with the part flipped over. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to create a new level. So I'm going to call this level 100 and I'm going to name it the top. So I'm going to work in that level now. So then what I want to do is I want to do again a translate to plane. I'm going to Control A to select all, push enter to end my selection. And this time I am going to create a copy of the part. So I want the top view to become the bottom. So we see the preview over here. Then I'm going to select the Advanced tab and I'm going to tell it that I want it to change a new color and I want it to move to level 100. So place each instance on a new level would be if I'm doing 3 or 4 copies of this. And I can choose a new part color with this. So I don't want that green because I've already used it. So I'll just choose, well, purple will do. I'll say OK. And then I'm going to say OK, and we have our copy here. So now I'm going to turn the visibility of level 1 off because I'm not interested in level 1. I'm going to just clear the colors of this. I'm going to right click and fit the screen. And I want to continue the setup of this. So now I need to rotate the part. It's the first thing I want to do. I want to rotate it 180 degrees. Or again, I can use my translate to plane. So I'm going to say translate to plane. Control A to select it all. Push enter to end my selection, and this time I'm going to move. And this time the front view needs to become the back. And I'll say OK. I'll right click and clear my colors. I'm going to right click and fit the geometry to the screen. And now we see that's in the correct orientation. I just need to get the part 0 over here this time. So once again, what am I going to do? I'm going to create another new level. I'm just going to make this 101. And I'm going to call it top geometry. So I'm going to say OK. Set the construction plane back to 2D. Once again, click in Z. Come up here, right click in the space and tell it Z coordinate of a point. Grab any point on top, so it's reset to Z. And now we go back to the wireframe, create an edge curve. I'm going to rotate my part around. I'm regretting my color choice. I'm going to select that edge, just zoom out a bit. I'm going to hold shift and move the part and zoom back in, and I want to select that edge. So I'll say OK. I'm going to right click and look at it isometrically again. Now for this part, let's go back here to Toolpath. So I'm working on this part here. It's the only thing I have turned on. Whoops, zoom out. What I want to now do again is go transform, and I want to move this corner to the origin. Okay, and I left it in 2D, so back to 3D. It's going to fit the geometry to the screen. Clear the colors. So what I want to do is do that again. I'm back in 3D mode. I'm going to say move to origin. Choose this point. Everything moves. Right click. Clear the colors. I'll right click. I'll fit the geometry to the screen. And if we come here and show the axis, we can see it's good now. So I'll shut that off. And the next thing I want to do is I want to set up the raw material for this part. So again, I'm going to expand this. Go into tool settings. Again, you're told to make the program number 2. I should have made it different. I'll assign the tool number sequentially. I'll select my material. And it's here because I already have it selected for the other part. And I'll say OK. And then stock setup. I'm just going to use the bounding box again. So I'm going to tell it to grab all entities. I still haven't machined the part to length in the previous exercise. It'll be done in this. So here, once again, I'm going to add 1/8. But I have machined the top. So I'm only going to add the 1/32, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add that to the Z as well. So it gets added on the top, and I'll say OK. I'll right click and I'll look at the front view, and I'll right click and make it fit the screen, and we can see the 30 seconds added on top. I'll go back to the isometric view, and now I can go ahead and I can add the tool paths to each part. So before I forget, I'm going to go levels. I'm going to make one active, and I'm going to make the visibility of these 2 levels off because I want to focus on this. I'm going to right click, fit the geometry to the screen. Don't worry about this. When I go back to this part and I move my insert arrow, up to it, you'll notice the geometry fixes itself. We'll continue adding toolpaths in the next video to the bottom of